Honestly, the biggest thing I want to jump in is just, to really get your benefits started as soon as you can, whether it's here with Warrior, whether you go to the VSOs or whether you just do it yourself, is really to just get the benefits started, because every day that you wait and you're not getting your benefits and you're not getting all these things that you need, you're losing money, you're losing hope, you're losing time at that point. And, we all run on a timed clock. We all have to get to the end sometime.
Exactly.
So, the longer you wait, the more that you're just not gonna benefit from the actual things that you could benefit from.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Sun City SITREP. Your host here, David. Today we actually have, Tyler Davis. He actually goes in there and he's part of Warrior Legions. I'm happy to go in there and introduce him. Brother, how you doing, man? How's it going?
Good, doing well. Yeah, I am the Readiness Coordinator over here at Warrior Legions, so I do all of the trainings and things like that for the staff. A little bit about myself, I grew up over in New York, just maybe about an hour south of Buffalo, over by Jamestown, New York, right on the Pennsylvania border. I grew up there until about 22. I joined the Army as a 14 Echo. Spent about 3 years in El Paso, deployed for about 13 months over to Iraq. And then when I came home, I did end up meeting my wife. And then from there on, I ended up getting the job here at Warrior. And here I am 1 year exactly today.
And now you're in El Paso.
Yes, sir. El Paso. Yes, sir. El Paso.
The sunny city. Brother, I was going to ask you, so for those out there that don't know what a 14 Echo is, can you kind of go a little bit into depth on what it is?
Yeah, so 14 Echo is going to be a Patriot missile operator, right? So basically, if you have, situations where you have high-value targets, high-value threats that have to be protected, or, things like that from air threats, that's things such as like Scud missiles, ballistic missiles, helicopters, jets, anything that you could think of being an air threat, it would be Patriot's job to go in there and actually take it down and, protect whatever asset that's being threatened from the enemy.
There you go. And so you said that you were also deployed in Iraq?
Yeah, I was up in Erbil it was right over on the Iranian border. I was there from pretty much all of COVID. I went 2 months before COVID, stayed there until about February, and then I came home, finished out my contract. I was just finished out my 4 years then. I did enjoy my military time, that's for sure. I did learn a lot. I really did love being downrange, just the simplicity of life. You wake up, you do your job, you go to sleep. You go to every single time.
Gotta love it, right?
Same thing every day. It was a little, it gets monotonous at sometimes, but, it's a nice schedule that you can get into. And exactly. I did really enjoy my time in the military, though, yes.
There you go. Now, let me ask you, were you, before we kind of jump into what you do with Warrior Legions, I kind of want to go in there and highlight this portion. Were you aware during that time frame, what was supposed to happen after you kind of decided to leave?
No, I'll be completely honest. I got out of the military 2022, actually September 17th, 2022, just a few days ago, a couple years back. And I'll be honest, I went around for about a solid year, really not knowing much of a direction of where I was going, what I wanted to do. Especially, things with like what Warrior deals with, the benefits, like the benefits part of the house. I was completely clueless. I went through SFL TAPS, I went through all the classes, I did everything that I was supposed to do like a good soldier when I got out, but they didn't teach me any part of the benefits or anything that I could actually get afterwards just from being a veteran or going through with the VA or anything like that.
How common do you think that is?
Very common. Yeah. Just about, any veteran that I've talked to throughout the process of working here over the past year, I've asked them, like, did you learn anything about this when you were in the military? Did you know anything about it? No, they're just about almost every veteran that comes through is almost, not clueless, but they're very not well educated on the veterans' benefits that they could be possibly getting.
Okay.
But, they don't teach us that stuff when we get out. They just teach us, get out and here, take this little test and now it looks like you're going to be a gardener, right? So those types of things.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that because I remember when I was, also op processing, I took that test. And believe it or not, it kind of highlighted there. It was like, hey man, these are the jobs, and at the very top I was supposed to be a gardener.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that's so freaking crazy,
Yeah.
I thought that I laughed about it. I thought it was funny. I was like, maybe because I'm Mexican. I don't know.
Yeah, I think mine was like something like personal trainer or something like that.
Oh, cool, man.
I mean, that's
cool.
2 years.
Man, let's kind of go in there and let's kind of jump in. So What is it that you kind of briefly touched upon it? Tell us a little bit about your story here at Warrior.
Yeah. So, I was working at my last job. I wasn't happy. I was really just, just going through the motions every day, just doing the same thing. I was not having a good time. It was a physical demanding job, things like that. And one of my friends, he was one of my very good friends from the military. He told me, come over, man. Like, this is a good lifestyle. Come over, and you will enjoy it. You'll enjoy actually being able to help the veterans, going in there and kind of really being able to affect and change people's lives. And I was like, at this point, I was like, let's do it. I want to do it, man. So I came over, again, just exactly a year ago, and I haven't looked back since. I've been having, honestly, one of the best times just going in there and really, really affecting people and really affecting their families and helping them and kind of going in there and changing their entire outlook on life sometimes.
Wow, that's very amazing. Can you go in there and can we kind of dive into some of the things that kind of stood out with you, sorry, from the very beginning?
Yeah. So, well, I'll be honest. So before I even actually started working here at Warrior, I came through as a client.
Okay.
So I came through as a client first, and I saw just, I had been shopping around different places. Let's try this guy. Let's try these guys. See what they got going on. And everywhere I went, it just really seemed like, I just walk in the doors, here, grab a number, take a seat, wait for somebody to call you, or you have to pay $200 to even talk to somebody sometimes, right?
Yeah, there is a lot of companies out there that kind of do that. What's your take on that?
I think that's really, really rash, honestly. Like, if veterans go in there and they actually put their lives on the line for their country, just, if they're coming back, treat them with some dignity, with some respect, try to help them out as much as you can, those types of things. Here at Warrior, I mean, as soon as I walked in through the doors, the first thing that happens is, hey, how are you? How are you doing? Like, can I get you a bottle of water, a snack, anything you need? They really, really make you feel like a real person, like your family, like you actually belong in the building and that you're not just a bother, that you're just there annoying people. Yeah.
So now let me kind of ask you this other question. So you went through that process. I think that would be a great segue to kind of like let's kind of jump into kind of what makes Warrior Legions a little bit different than these other places that you tried out.
Really the compassion of the workers. Even in upper management as of right now, I walk around and I hear people just being compassionate with their veterans, talking with their veterans, really going in there and trying to connect with them on a deeper level than just a hey, I'm gonna help you with this. Like, they're actually going in there and getting to know these veterans, getting to see the difficult things that they have to go through with, all of the struggles, everything like that. So honestly, the biggest thing is the compassion of the workers, every single employee from the top to the bottom, they're there for the mission. They're not there for the paycheck. They're there for the veteran, the end goal.
Wow. Is there any testimonials or anything like that? And without specific names or anything that kind of stands out to you, or any stories, any anecdotal things that you could kind of share with the audience?
Yeah, of course. I just came back from a trip not too long ago to one of our other locations, and we had a veteran down there that he had been fighting for 40 years almost, just trying to get anything. He couldn't get anything. They kept denying him, and we ended up getting him a 0 to a 40, and he was ecstatic. He got 0 to 40%, and he was ecstatic. He was so happy. He had been fighting for 40 years. He was immediately just like, guys, I can't believe like you were able to do this for me. Like, this is a miracle. Other things that we've talked about, or other things that have happened here, we've gotten veterans from 0 to 100 in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they were so happy that we changed their lives. Now their kids can go to school. They were able to pay with their mortgage, things like that. Even just close family members that I've had go through the process, they love every bit of it. They love every second. They're just having a good time all the way throughout the process.
So let's kind of go in there and I want to kind of hold this for a little while. We're gonna jump back into it, but what are some of the actual benefits that veterans are kind of leaving in the table out there?
Yeah, there's a lot of like random things that veterans really don't know. Things like such as special monthly compensation. Say if you get an injury that can qualify you for when you lose a complete appendage or things like that, you can actually get special monthly compensations.
Okay, so that's an additional amount of money that is granted to you.
Yeah, it'll be an additional amount that you'll get every month on top of what your actual compensation amount is. So that can go in there and just add more money into the veterans' pockets, really help them out when they're trying to, if they are behind on bills, that's just going to be things that's going to help them out. Or other benefits such as when you get to 100%, cities like El Paso, you get free property tax, or Certain places you can fly Space A for free. That's a really good way for veterans to travel in case they have family in certain areas and they can't afford maybe an actual airline to go to certain things for funerals or whatever it may be.
Yeah, some R&R or even
Right.
like you said or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's even small like vacation spots. There's a lot of them that'll be for DoD like or disabled veterans that are they just use those facilities just for veterans. So there's a lot of things that are overlooked. Really, that veterans could get a lot of help out if they actually go in there and try to learn things about the actual system, or come in here and talk to some of our counselors, and then once they get to that rating, they can get those benefits and all of the things that they might need.
So look, let me kind of go in there and throw a little statistic. So about 18.6 roughly, million veterans are, outside of the service right now. Considered veterans, they're no longer part of the military. Some of them might be reservists, but very few compared to the 18.6 million. Within that, it's less than half, or maybe close to half, actually are receiving benefits. Why do you think that the other half have not gone out there? Do you think they're just good to go, or
No,
what have
honestly,
you heard from?
Yeah, honestly, I don't believe that the veterans that haven't filed for the claims are good to go. A lot of them are really struggling. It's just maybe they don't understand that they really do qualify for things. I've had veterans come up to me and be like, "Oh, I've never deployed. I've never gone and fought in combat. I'm not eligible for VA benefits." And I'm like, "Sir, that's false. You are completely eligible, and let's go ahead and get your process started." So yeah, no, things like that. Just the common misconceptions, the YouTube University of this is how you get this is how you get rated, right? So,
What do you think about those though? Because I find them kind of funny. I mean, some of these individuals are extremely successful. I
some of them
mean,
are
their
very
marketing
good.
scheme is great. I mean, I watch the amount of followers, the amount of people that are going in there and watching these videos. What do you think of that?
Man, like you said, some of them do know their stuff, but a lot of these people, they're kind of just going in there and spreading misinformation that's going to confuse veterans, going to confuse the adjudicators, things like that. So at the end of the day, the veteran, really the best friend that they're going to have is the CFR 38, the Code of Federal Regulations, where they can actually go in there and find individual things and go and do certain stuff. But yeah, no, honestly, I believe it's just a misconception about just not understanding what you really qualify for and what you can get.
That's so crazy because I remember last time, I was like everybody, can't sleep, scrolling through my phone, trying to go in there and kill time. I remember watching this one video, and I want your take on this. Apparently, I'm not going to name the name. I'm not going to put nobody on blast. I just want to kind of touch on the topic. The guy was like, "Hey guys, like if you go in there and you get a disability benefit questionnaire filled out by your doctor, or you obtain a nexus letter, don't show up to your CMP."
That's gonna be more for like lawyer sides, things like that, because what they're gonna do is they're gonna actually go in there and get the veteran. Say if the veteran does get denied or whatever does happen, they're gonna go in and find the actual legal doctrine, and they're gonna really try to flip it towards the VA. However, with those types of situations, a lot of times they're gonna charge quite a bit of money, quite a bit of money, and also with those situations, that doctor that you're going to get those DBQs or whatever they may be, they could just be some random guy. It's just you don't really know. You don't know the full process of who you're going to go through with that lawyer. And then a lot of times, a lot of people will get back from the lawyer and they'll be like, "Hey, like these guys charge me like all this money, and then they didn't even do anything for me. So I'm just sitting here
How
at the
frequent
same
is that?
percentage." Very, very frequent. A lot of people believe they believe that their best bet is going to be to go with a lawyer, and you're going to pay this guy up front before you even get started with the process. You're going to give him like your first little bit, and then you'll go through your payments later on through the process. But I don't think it's fair that the veteran's being charged up front before a service was even conducted for the veteran. So I don't think that lawyers are the best option for veterans when they're going through them, but it is an option that they can always use. There is multiple options for the vets. But yeah, it just kind of depends on the veteran's preferences on how quick they want to get the results back.
So what's Warriors' take in regards to, informing veterans of the actual, avenues that they could take?
Yeah, so pretty much any time that we're going to make contact with a veteran, we're going to give them the four initial ways that you can go ahead and file your claim. You can go with a VSO, you can do it yourself, you can go with a lawyer, or you could even go by yourself. Or you can file with a company like ourselves over here at Warrior Allegiance, a third-party company that's not accredited with the VA. I do believe that there is some companies out there that, are trying to do the same thing that we're doing, that they're just not going about it the correct way. They're just in there for,
Quick buck.
what they can put in their pocket, not what they
Yeah.
can put in the veteran's pocket, how they can help that veteran out later on down the road.
So that the audience could kind of understand what he's saying is that Warrior Legions, when they come in and they speak to an actual veteran, they're always going to let them know, hey, man, there are free VSOs out there. Am I correct?
That is correct. They're
always
100% free.
There are always free VSOs out there. And does Warrior encourage people to actually go out there?
Yeah, of course. We always will encourage a veteran. If not, our services are not going to be correct for everybody, right? So if you have a chance to get that increase and, you're going to go in there and get it, cheaper, whatever you may do it, we're always going to be there for the veteran at the end of the day. Whatever, we recommend you to VSOs. I've given veterans VSOs numbers, contact information so that they can reach out, because they're like, hey, like, I can't do this right now, but I'm like, okay, well, I'm still going to come over. I'm still going to help you. Like, at the end of the day, my job is to help you get to the higher compensation rate, right?
Exactly.
So whether it's going through with Warrior Allegiance or going through with whoever it may be, as long as the veteran wins, then it's a good day for everybody.
There you go. So sweet. So then, therefore, now let me ask you: how many of these veterans, they go out there, they go to the free VSO? How many of them do they return back, or they kind of just after that you never hear from them again? Or
I get quite a good return on them. Honestly, I'm very confident in the work that we do here over at Warrior. So I will literally give the veteran, be like, hey, here's the VSO's name, number, and you can get as much stuff as you want from them and do whatever you can with them. But whenever you get denied, you want to come back, we're always going to be here to help you out, right? A lot of times, the VSO is just going to be like, hey, what do you want to file for? Oh, your knee, your ankles, and your back. Okay, let me just put that onto a statement, and then we're going to submit that for you. Here at Warrior, we're going to actually go in there and help you. We're going to put it together a fully developed claim for the veteran. The veteran's going to submit that claim, but we're going to do the legwork for the vet. So that way they're not sitting there. Everybody has work. Everybody has kids. Everybody has families.
Yeah, life is busy. And now with this economy, we got to be honest,
Exactly. And can't really afford to take time off of, people can't afford to take time off of work to go and do these things, because it takes a long time. People have been fighting the VA for years. And, it's a very long process sometimes, and it's very confusing. It's a delicate process. If one small little bit of misinformation that you put in there could end up ruining your entire claim.
Okay. So let's kind of, that is pretty cool. So the audience needs to go in there and understand that, at Warrior, they will go in there and they basically will take their time to understand that case, to see what best avenues that veteran has. Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you this: Does Warrior go in there and kind of like fabricate things and just?
No. So whatever's going to be put together is going to be whatever's backed up by medical information. So even you cannot get rated by the VA if you don't have medical information to back it up, right? So
it's evidence based,
right? It's going to be an evidence based kind of deal. So what we request for the veterans is you have to help us get all this information, so that way we can help you, right? We're not just going to go in there and be like, oh, you have your back hurts. We're going to go ahead and start filing whatever conditions we can, rifling out all these claims as fast as we can, and the next thing you know, this veteran is trying to file for 30 things at the same time, and it's just not beneficial for the vet. So
you see, and it's kind of crazy, and it's kind of crazy that you mentioned that, because when I was getting out, I was actually, sent to a VSO, mm-hmm. and that is what happened to me. I think it was like, we filed for more than 36, 37 things. I was close to 38 things that we had to go in there and file. It was like 3 weeks of continuous CMP, mm-hmm. just constantly, and it was very confusing. Yes. It was extremely confusing, because you're like, well, now you got to go here, now you got to go up there, now come back down here, now go to the other side, and there was no real overall guidance on what was happening.
Yeah, it's very when I went, because I went through the same process. I tried once by myself, got shut down immediately. Like I tried by myself, got shut down immediately. So that's when I did come over to Warrior. But yeah, when I was over there, it was just hey, go do this, hey, go over this direction, hey, go there, hey, go do this. And it was really, there was nobody actually there to guide me through the process, to help me through the process. And that's where really Warrior Allegiance comes through, and they help out these veterans by really guiding them through the process.
What are some good tips that you might want to, share with the veterans?
The biggest tip that I can share with any veteran that's going to go through the process of doing their claims is to really not, don't hide your conditions. Don't try to play them down. Really actually advocate for yourself. Because, throughout the military time, my entire military time, I went to sick call maybe twice, right? Because, you go to sick call.
Yeah, you don't want to be a sick call ranger, right?
Right. You get that negative, negative stigma. Everybody's like, hey, well, this guy's not even ever at PT, whatever's going on. So really getting into that veteran's mindset and letting them know, like, hey, you're not in the military anymore. Like, you need this help. You need to go and actually get treated for these conditions that you suffered while you were defending your country. Those types of things, really just letting them know, just don't downplay your conditions. Really just go in there and let the doctors know.
You're saying that many veterans go in there, and I'm guilty of it. We kind of downplay our symptoms.
Oh yeah, I 100%. I've had veterans come up to me that are, he could barely walk across the parking lot, and I was like, sir, what's going on with your ankle and stuff like that? And he didn't want to file for it. He's like, oh no, I'm okay, I can still walk. And I'm like, sir, you're not walking the very best. What if a situation did arise where you had to, take off running, or, a car comes at you at this point, and he didn't think about it at that point that, maybe I can actually go get treated and get help with this condition. So that way, now if something does happen, I can actually defend myself. I can get away from whatever danger it may be or whatever it is.
So what do you attribute that? Like, why do veterans go in there and kind of downplay, the conditions that they have? Do you think it's because of that stigma that they still kind of go in there and, they picked up in the, while they were in the military?
Yeah, I think it could be definitely a stigma that was picked up in the military for sure. But also, just the negative reactions that would happen to it. I've had toxic leadership throughout the military that if you did go to sick call, they actually would give you some kind of reprimand, or they would try to get you. They would be like, okay, well, now you're going to be stuck doing gate guard all day or something like that. So, just trying to hide it, or, we also just get so good at hiding our emotions and hiding our pain that we do go through it on a day-to-day basis, that it makes it hard to spot those things, for family. Like if throughout your entire military career, you're taking classes on how to, spot a suicidal soldier or how to do these types of things with those soldiers, it makes it very easy for that soldier to know what conditions to hide, what to just to stay away from. So that way they're not presenting these conditions. Nobody's picking up on these, whether it's their family, their friends, their boss, their coworkers, whoever it may be. They're getting very good at hiding the conditions. So then when it comes time to actually try to express the condition, they've gotten so good at hiding it that they're like, there's nothing.
There's nothing wrong.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Right.
Wow. So let me ask you, you here in Warrior Allegiance, what do you do, to try to go in there and help that veteran kind of understand? I mean, has it ever happened that a veteran comes in, he's like, hey, I'm here because my wife says that, I kind of complain. I guess I got a file now. I tried it once back in 1990 and it didn't work. So I stopped. And now my wife is like, hey, you need to go out there and, whatever. I saw this commercial or this post or something from Warrior Allegiance. You should go try it.
Yeah.
And the individual is kind of like, huffing and puffing getting here. He gets here and now he's in front of you. How do you help him understand, like, hey, sir, like, let's see, because I think, is it more of like, we are kind of beat down to think like, hey, man,
right.
I think somebody who deserves it more should get it. Or do you...
And that is a very common thing that a lot of veterans, you'll see it a lot in the older generation of veterans, like Vietnam era, those guys. They'll, I got my 10 toes, I got my 10 fingers, I'm ready to go, I'm all right. But, they don't really think about the conditions that they could have, the things like, hypertension, the actual internal conditions that they do have. And that, a lot of times that those are very serious conditions that could help out their families, or, say if they do pass away from one of those conditions, unfortunately, a lot of people will realize like, hey, if I do pass away from the condition that I'm rated for, now my family is actually going to be helped out with these benefits. So, if you've got a guy that was over there getting beat up by Agent Orange and stuff like that, and now he's got all these heart conditions and all these problems, a lot of times he'll be like, I'm fine. I didn't get blown up. I didn't get shot. I still got my legs. I still got my arms, not realizing that these actual internal conditions are, just as bad,
Just as bad.
So
yeah, wow.
A lot of times if you really just let them know, like, hey, like, I can tell that this is for your family, your family is the real reason why you're here. And a lot of times they'll be like, yeah, like, this is
that's why I'm here.
Right.
Because I guess a lot of veterans do it, not for themselves, because if it was up to them, they could sleep in the dirt, they'll be good to go.
Drinking coffee out of your shaving cup, everything like that.
So that kind of deal for them. But a lot of them. So what you're saying is that many have told you, hey, I'm here. I'm doing this because I want to take care of my family.
Yeah, I want to take care of my family. I want to help out my family. And, sometimes the spouses are the biggest motivators for the veteran, because the biggest thing is you cannot lose hope when you're going through the VA process. You know, a lot of people, they go through 20 years. You know, it tends to take a toll on your mental health after a while of denial after denial after denial after denial. So really the biggest message that I give to all veterans is just don't give up on your claims process. You know, if your spouse is telling you to go and just try it again, what's the worst that's going to happen? You just get denied again, and that's it. So just the biggest message is just keep trying to file, keep trying to get those conditions so that you can get the compensation that you really deserve.
That is something very, very huge right there that you just mentioned, which is, you know, continue to go in there and try, you know. There's nothing there that goes in there and, you know, if you receive compensation, let's say that you're a veteran that didn't go to combat and, you know, you were injured, you know, doing your regular duties, you know, do a lot of veterans understand that the way that the VA is set up is not just for combat veterans, you know, because that's one of the things that we veterans do. Hey, what was your MOS? You know, like, what was your MOS? You know, and then I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. I'm this, or, oh, this guy's infantry, or this guy was SF, or, you know, whatever it is, this guy was a combat or an engineer or whatever it is. And I think it's across all the branches. We tend to go in there and kind of gauge ourselves according to what you did during that service time. You know, but the truth of the fact is that, look, I'm proud of everything that I did, and if I could, I would join again, and I would do it all over again. Yeah, of course, minus a few things, you know, like, you know, I mean, minus a few things.
Yeah, minus a couple of things. Yeah,
minus a couple of things, but I would do it all over again. But the thing is that, you know, now that we've served, you know, the military is rolling along, you know, and we need to understand that, you know, we do need to go in there, and many of us have families. So can you kind of go in there and talk about some of the benefits that veterans receive, and also not only them, but, you know, their families?
Yeah. I mean, not just monetary wise, you know, the benefits monetary wise, you know, through the VA, but, you know, also things like free healthcare, free life insurance, things like that, you know, trying to get through with Champ VA. It's an excellent program. A lot of people don't understand how it works or how to actually get to use Champ VA. So really, it's just a lot of like small things that are just being underused. You know, even just getting to your appointments. If you don't have a vehicle, the VA will pay for an Uber. They'll give you a shuttle, those types of things. And just trying to get, if you can actually get the access to those things, then it'll be a lot easier in your claims process.
And honestly, I think another thing that you went in there and you mentioned, one of the things, I mean, I haven't met anybody that regresses back in age. So like we all are, you know, we're not spring chickens. We're all going to continue to go in there and get older and older. So whatever pain you have now, as you get older, it's just simply going to increase.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, unless maybe there's some kind of crazy breakthrough in surgeries that's going to completely fix people's, you know,
PTSD, some bionic thing or something that, you know,
Like unless there's some crazy breakthroughs, a lot of it you got to think you know, how is it going to get worse? How are you going to get better? You know, is your body really going to get better without that crazy surgery? So a lot of veterans do think about that later on down the road. You know, in 10 years, might I be in a wheelchair? In 10 years, might I have braces? In 10 years, will I even be alive? You know, maybe some of these conditions with the things like Agent Orange, they're going in there and causing some of the most violent types of cancers that are just, you know, so, you know, those types of things.
I see what you're saying. Now, another thing that you went in there and you mentioned is that veterans, if, for instance, let's say as a veteran, I have a heart condition and I pass away, you know, God forbid, but I pass away. And if I'm rated, you said something earlier, if I'm rated, can my family actually go in there and receive?
Yeah, so there is a few stipulations to that aspect. So, you know, you would either have to be rated for 10 plus years at 100% TNP for your family to be passed over those benefits. Or you could be, say you are rated for a heart condition and then you unfortunately do pass away from the heart condition. Since that you were rated for that condition, your family would also be eligible for those benefits. You know, they could be things up to $15,000 a year in compensation, you know, housing, free property tax, all the same things. Like up until the veteran's spouse gets remarried, they could be eligible for those benefits.
So now let me ask you this kind of question. As a veteran, is there a difference? You know, because you mentioned TMP. So that mean what does that mean?
So that's going to be total and permanent, right? So
Is there a difference between being 100%? Like, so if I'm at 100%, can I work?
Yeah, so there's three different stipulations for this, right? So you got your 100%. That's just you're at 100%. The VA is still going to be able to call you back in as like do a CMP exam or to reevaluate you commonly whenever they feel is necessary. Or you could be 100% totally and permanently disabled, which means that you have conditions that unless there is a breakthrough in science and breakthrough in medical history, that you're going to be with that condition for life. You're totally and
They're
permanently
static.
Right, you're static. You've either had a condition that is it's not going to get better, or you've been rated with that condition for more than 5 years and it has not gotten better. Then the VA will make that condition static, and that can actually turn you into total and permanent.
Okay.
And then you also have your 100% TMP, or not TMP. I do apologize. Your 100%.
The TDIU?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The TDIU. So you do have the TDIU, which is where you could be rated for a single condition such as PTSD, but it's so bad that you cannot go out to work. You can't go in there and you can't do your daily activities. You can't function. You have to have caretakers, those types of things. So the VA could rate you at 100% based off of that condition, and then you will be able to get paid at 100%.
So TDIU is that basically temporary disability unemployability. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
So that's what that means. So what you're saying is that, hey, maybe I have fibromyalgia. It's rated at 50%, 60%, but it's so bad I can't work.
Right.
That I apply for that and that gets me to 100%. Now, let me ask you, because earlier you were mentioning, do you get a lot of veterans that are in that category that want to get out of that category?
It's sometimes, yes, it is a common thing because a veteran will they have those conditions, but they do want to go back to work. They want to go back and get out of the house, or they want to try to get better. So they want to come back off that TDIU. They want to get back to the just a regular rating at 60 at 70% and then go to work, or even just a regular 100% and then go to work.
And sorry to interrupt you, but is that majority of them that want to do that? Is it because of the necessity of them of having to go in there and say, hey man, I need to work.
Right.
The economy's not the best.
Exactly. The economy is not the best. So, just surviving off of only your VA disability can be troubling in places like, California, New York.
Where you're from in certain areas.
Yeah,
would that be enough?
No. No, I'll be honest. In certain areas, no. You're gonna need a multiple sources of income, whether it's some kind of passive income or you have another job or something going on. It wouldn't be completely enough to make ends meet, or at least if it is, it's not going to be the most great lifestyle.
And I think some of the reasons for is because a lot of employers nowadays do have a lot of accommodations that maybe didn't exist, some years past.
Yeah.
So therefore, veterans are like, wow, maybe I could get an accommodation. Maybe my back is so messed up. I am TMP, but now I could get an office work, office type of job setting. And, they're going to give me an what are they called? Ergonomic chair or something like that. Something that would help me at least maintain to be able to go in there. They'll get me one of those desks that, kind of lift up so I could stand up.
Yeah, of course. Or even, if, with the advances in technology, we're starting to do all this stuff working from home, remote works, that makes it easier to where now if the veteran can't leave their house to go to do these certain things, they can just do it right from their house.
And they can still make an income.
And they can still make an income, and they can still go ahead and be able to afford the basic necessities that they need.
Okay. So now, what are the things would you like to go in there and kind of touch upon, man? Like some of the things that you would be like, you know what, I want to kind of go in there and tell the audience, specifically whether it be a veteran, a spouse, family member, like what other things would you like to go in there and kind of jump in?
Honestly, the biggest thing I want to jump in is just, to really get your benefits started as soon as you can, whether it's here with Warrior, whether you go to the VSOs, or whether you just do it yourself, is really to just get the benefits started, because every day that you wait and you're not getting your benefits and you're not getting all these things that you need, you're losing money, you're losing hope, you're losing time at that point. And, we all run on a timed clock. We all have to get to the end sometime.
Exactly.
So, the longer you wait, the more that you're just not gonna benefit from the actual things that you could benefit from.
Now, let me ask you, if the veteran continues to wait, does it make it easier to file, or does it complicate a little bit?
Oh, no, it makes it much harder. The more of the time and gap in their service and the time that it is now, it's going to be a lot harder to link those conditions together, right? Because the VA is going to want a current condition. They're going to want to make sure that it's been seen within the last year or so. So, you want to make sure that as soon as you get out, even if you're getting out tomorrow or you're getting out today, go down and start filing your claims tomorrow. Get your intensive file and do something at least so that way you're securing some sort of income for yourself.
Okay. So try to go out there and do it as soon as possible.
Yes.
The better, and the faster that you do it, the more that you could seize that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Is it because the VA would argue like, hey, I guess the way that I say is, the from when we were talking earlier, the regulation kind of goes in there and states like, hey, the injury must be while you were in active duty, or it had to be caused, through some, while you were in active duty. So from that point, at the moment that you separate, the clock begins to go under and tick.
Correct.
Is one of the argument that the VA kind of uses is like, well, how do we know that didn't happen in between from now into the time that you got out?
Right. So yeah, say if you're out for, you got out and 20 years ago, and then you wait up until right now to start filing it, that's a very huge window for the VA to be like, oh, well, you could have fallen off your bike, or you could have gotten a car accident,
Exactly.
or, some kind of injury could have happened to you outside of the military. So unless you have like the actual chronicity of you going into the doctor and the actual evidence stating like from your, whether it's a buddy statement, a commander statement, something that states like this event happened in service, as long as there's evidence stating like, this happened in service, then you might have a chance. But honestly, the longer you wait, yes, it's really gonna affect the process that it's gonna slow it down quite a bit.
Slow it down. You mentioned something. So buddy statements. So these, and I think earlier you had, when we were talking off camera, you were talking the lay statements or buddy statements, as everybody knows them.
Yeah.
What do those do?
So pretty much what a lay statement or a buddy statement is going to do is it's going to have a significant impact on your claim, right? So, you need somebody that's going to be able to that can corroborate whatever happened, whether it's a medical evidence, you won't need a buddy statements if it's medical evidence. But there's a lot of times, like if you say you're deployed, that you don't have the opportunity to go to sick call to get your injuries documented.
Exactly.
You might be on a fob, you might be, you might be just downrange, you might be in the field, you might not even have medics assigned to your units at some point. So it makes it a little bit hard to actually go in there and file, or to go in there and, get your injuries documented.
Yeah, you're not going to, enemy timeout, I need to go get this kind of, recorded. I banged my knees or whatever.
Okay. Stop shooting real quick. My knee hurts. So a lot of times, you don't actually get that opportunity to go in there and get to sick call. So that's where things like your lay statements can come in, and they do hold a significant weight because, it's a witness that was actually there with you at the time that saw your injury, saw whatever had happened, the incident. So they really do carry a significant weight. I always advise, any veterans, reach out to your friends, get me a hold of somebody that can corroborate this story, so that way we can make sure it's going to be true and that we're going to get it with the VA.
Within the actual VA. Okay, so and that in itself, like you said, it's basically a witness, like you said, corroborating or because, I mean, in itself, I mean, that buddy statement, what should it kind of contain? Like, what are some of the things that you would suggest? Because a lot of people are like, okay, what is a statement? Oh yeah, I went in there and I saw, whatever, Staff Sergeant Jimmy Jones. Went in there and like, what do you think? How can we help the audience to, specific to those veterans, so that they could go say, hey, well,
Yeah, so, I would always want the veterans, whatever this, and if it's going to be a buddy statement, to go in there and at least highlight what happened in the injury. How did that happen? Where were you at? Location, names, dates. Be as accurate and be as precise as you can about all of the information throughout the statement. And then to also just kind of put in there, how does it affect your battle buddy? How does it affect this person when it happened? How does it affect them to this day? Has it gotten better? Has it affected, their marriage? Has it affected have they lost their job because of it? Really just go in there, and if just try to advocate for, whoever you're trying to get this statement for, really go in there and get all the details. Try to get as much information for your battle buddies as you can.
As you can. Now, does this individual, do they need to sign it?
Yeah. So at the bottom, you write out your whole statement, everything that you got going on, and then at the bottom, you're gonna put a wet signature, a wet date, everything like that. Yeah,
and I see right there. I think they just pulled up the form, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
Yeah, that's a statement in support of a claim. Okay, most definitely. So as they're going down, basically you're saying that the individual needs to go in there and kind of put the name of whoever the claimant is, the name of the person who's corroborating the actual story, and then as it continues to go down, I guess that's where the signature, right there, that section where it says remarks, that's where you're going to put the body of the statement.
Yeah, your statement right there is going to be in the section for remarks, and then if you keep going down to the bottom, that's where you're going to get the veteran's social and things like that.
Okay, so let me see, and then I imagine as it continues to go down, okay, and then right there, that would be the signature.
This is going to be your signature block. So that is going to be one of the biggest thing on this is the wet signature and the date. If it doesn't have it, the VA is gonna be like, well, I don't even know who this is from. We can't. This isn't real evidence, right? So we want to always make sure that those are highlighted. That we make sure that the veteran knows that whoever's writing the statement has to sign, has to date, so that they can sign off on, yes, I wrote this statement for this person.
Now, I want to kind of go in there and kind of jump back a little bit onto Warrior. Can you go in there and, kind of talk to us a little bit more about the process? What should veterans, go in there and expect when when they come and they talk to you?
Yeah. So, first and foremost is just getting to know the veteran, right? So if I have a veteran that wants to come in and talk to me, I'm going to get to know them, common interests. We're going to go ahead and see what's going to be the best route for them, if the service is even, if it is for them, sometimes it's not, as we said. So going in there, seeing what the best avenue of approach is, what's going to be the best way to get them to that, either that 100% or that higher VA compensation rating. Really just, then once you get to this section, you're going to talk with the veteran. You're going to give him, some certain things that he has to fill out for you. He has to send in some information. We get all that stuff done. And then from there, we just go on with the process. And it's a fairly quick process, to be honest. Like, when I went through here, I ended up getting my rating, or I came through the doors on July the 5th or 6th or something like that last year. And then, within 2 months, I had already gotten an increase. So it was that quick.
It was that quick.
It is without going in too much into detail about everything. It's a very quick process.
So
from beginning to end.
So basically, you guys use a process that goes in there and expedites. Well, not necessarily expedites. Maybe what you guys basically are saying, what you guys do is you're submitting, because you said it earlier. We submit fully developed claims. So in other words, the packet or whatever it is that you guys create, what it actually goes in there and what it does, it simply goes in there and it just makes the job easier for the adjudicator, or
yeah, pretty much. We're gonna go through and take all of the evidence, everything that we can be afforded by the veteran, by the doctors, by everything that we can get, is we're gonna put it all together in the nicest format that we can. So that way, when the adjudicator gets the process, it's not like you said 36 things that's right on my board, right? Because a lot of times when you think about it, the guys that are over there at the VA, it could be an ex-soldier that just doesn't like Air Force, or he doesn't like the Marines that day. So he sees, okay, well, you want me to go through and actually go through the CFR and the adjudication manual to check out all 36 of these claims, or I can just deny it and move on to the next one. So
that could happen.
It could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's a lot of times where we just want to make it
feel like that.
Right. We want to make it as easy as we can for that adjudicator, so that way once they get that packet, everything's right there, all the evidence, everything
cookie
that
cutter.
they have. Exactly.
So
It's
that
cookie
adjudicator
cutter.
we just made his job easier.
Right. Make his job as easy as he can.
So therefore, that guy just simply, or that gal, hey man, this is easy, quick.
Right.
Everything checks the box. Everything fits within, like you said, that CFR. Everything fits within that adjudication manual, and they just simply go in there, and so that is what kind of, so the good work that you guys are turning in is kind of what expedites the overall.
Right. Pretty much that's going to be the expedition, or the expediting, right? Because if you have again, if you have 36 things to go through, it's going to take you a lot longer than if we go through and we hit on this is what you could go for, this is what you qualify for.
And that's human nature, because think about it. I like to go in there and I like to say, man, I'm lazy. I don't want to go in there, and I want to make sure that get the low hanging fruit first. Make sure that kind of if something is just solid, I'm going to give a little bit more love to that, but when I go in there and I see something that is huge, I'm going to be like, Lord, here we go, you know?
Yeah.
And probably my boss is telling me, like, why aren't you working that much? You need to go in there. I'm just imagining that I'm the adjudicator.
Right.
Because, they deal with millions and millions and millions of cases. So there are hundreds of thousands, and they have to attempt to process, because from what you were talking about earlier, also off camera, is that they have a timeline to try to go in there. I think it's 180 days to try to go in there and answer or give a decision.
I did. I actually, it's kind of funny you do mention that. I actually I saw something yesterday. I went to a small event after I left work, and it was an event with the VA, and they were stating that they finally have the claims under 1 year. Like, people's claims are getting processed in under a year, which if you think about it, it is good, but that is still a very, very long time to wait. Because if you think, like, 180 days is the minimum usually, or the average that we go through. Sometimes they go extend. Of course, they can extend up to a year or so, but every minute that you wait on adding to that, or trying to do it yourself, or going through someone that's not going to give the VA all of the things that they need right then and there, you're just slowing down your own process, right? Because, you know, if you don't have a professional doing this stuff, you could possibly submit a claim on the wrong paperwork, and then the VA is going to send it back in a month or two and be like, hey, guy, by the way, restart.
And then you go in there, you file it again. So then that adds even more time.
Even
and then
more processing time. So it's just, at the end of the day, it's just, you know, if you want to get your claims done and you want to get them done in an expeditious way, is just, you know, come over to Warrior. We will get you. We're very expeditious with our claims.
Oh, wow. That is wonderful. Anything else that you would like to go in there and kind of, you know, let the audience know, you know?
It's because there's so many things that, you know, the VA, we really have to
I'm going to have to bring you back.
You're going to have to bring me back multiple times, because it's like I'm sitting here and I just got all of these things in my head that I wish I could just let every veteran know, like, hey, this is a way that you could help yourself out.
Give me the top. Give me the top that's saying, like, hey, man, you know.
The biggest thing I'm going to give to, and this isn't actually for veterans, this is going to be actually for the for our active duty service members, is to get your stuff documented. Go to sick calls. Stop falling into that stigma. Stop pretending that it doesn't hurt. Stop pretending that you aren't having those problems. Actually go in there and get the help that you truly need. So that way, even if it's not coming to the claims process, you're getting the help, and then at the claims process, it's easier because you have the evidence. You have everything you need.
You know, that's one of the craziest things, because I still remember, you know, having, you know, of course, my subordinates under me, and this is what I would go in there and tell them. And I think that this is for all the leaders. And I agree with you 1,000%. Hey, you know what? Let's say that, I don't know, Private Jimmy Jones went in there, you know, playing soccer, foul. Hey, man, go over there, go to sick call, get fixed. I mean, I would ensure that they were there. Like, go over there, get fixed, make sure that it's nothing major. As soon as that, come back out, and let's get ready to continue to work.
Yeah.
You know, not, you know, because irregardless of it makes no sense. You know, at the end of the day, the service member is the one that does the work for the military. Like, go get fixed, come back, and keep going. Because, you know, me growing up in the military, it was because things have changed with the new IDIS system. You know, that DoD has implemented. It used to be that you would get hurt, they would kind of like, you know, you wouldn't go to sick call. Eventually, it would catch up to you. You know, and that's when you had your walkers and you had the extra other, you know, fitness,
the profiles,
and all that. And it's kind of crazy because, you know, and in the latter years, you know, there was times that I was like, wow, you know, I should have gone to sick call. You know what I'm trying to go there and say? Like, I should have gone to sick call.
Yeah, and not even just from your own perspective of it, too. You got to think of the readiness of your unit or wherever you're at, right? So if we're sending, if say you're going to deploy, right, and your unit, everybody's green on paper, everybody looks good on paper on your HR metrics, everything's all good to go. Yeah. But it's because they're not going to get treated for the injuries that they have. So then when you get downrange, you start to realize, like, hey, I got a broken bunch of soldiers. I've got a bunch of guys that, you know, they can't go downrange and they can't execute their job because they weren't getting the treatment, they weren't getting the medication, whatever it was that they needed. They weren't doing it because they were afraid to go to sick call. They were afraid to document those injuries. So just, that's my biggest thing, is just get everything documented. You know, go in there. You know, if you get called the sick call ranger, you know, you're healthy at the end of the day. You know, you did your job. You were healthy. You're gonna go home to your family at the end of the day.
You know, it's so crazy that you go in there and you mention, you know, because quick little story. I was in Bragg, and there's this they have this SF compound, and they have this obstacle course. They call it Nasty Nick. Don't know even if it's there, because I don't even think it's called Fort Bragg anymore.
What is it called? I think they changed the Fort Liberty.
Is it Liberty? No, where's Cavazos? Cavazos is down in Hood, I
believe.
Okay. Well, anyways, we would go out there and we were doing that, and I think it was the second or third time that we were doing it. So I was climbing a rope, and dude, I just failure. Like, I just, because you had to climb the rope and then you had to then kind of, you know, go down.
Yeah.
Dude, I muscle failure. I couldn't do it anymore, and I just simply. And it's crazy because today I go to the doctor, and the doctor looks at, you know, he's looking at the x-rays that he did. He's like, hey, man, what's up with your neck? And I was like, well, one of many things, you know, that, you know, I've been banged up. And then he's like, yeah, I could see. I mean, that's the old injury. I was like, and then what's crazy is that it blew my mind that he had told me, he's like, hey, man, if you had gone in there and kind of taken care of it right there and then, you know, in other words, gone through the proper medical procedures, he's like, you wouldn't be having a lot of the issues that you have right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, honestly, like,
So I was like, yeah, back then I wasn't gonna,
Yeah,
I just
no.
remember, hitting the floor, no more air. I'm like, got up,
You gotta
just,
get up and be a cool
yeah,
guy.
I
walk it
go in there,
off, you
pop
know.
the dip in, and it just like, man,
Yeah.
So it was kind of wild, and it was, and we were all laughing, everybody's, of course, I'm laughing at myself, like, damn, what an idiot, I should have, but the craziness is that I wish I would have, like, hey man, let me just go get checked out, make sure that everything's okay.
Yeah.
Instead of going in there and then going out with the buddies, and just trying to go in there and forget about what in there happened and, busting jokes with each other. But I agree with you. Like, go out there and with the advancements in medicine, like, go out there, get fixed. Then you should be good to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, military doctors have gotten quite a bit better since, even when I was in, I just got out 2022.
Okay.
Seeing a lot of the medical advancements that they've made in the last just few years, it's insane. It's insane to me. So, just, getting treated. And it's not just, again, it's not just for yourself, but it can be for your family. Because if you think, your neck injury that you have, later on, it's progressively going to get worse. It's going to get worse. So, what happens when it comes to, being with your kids, going out with your wife?
Oh yeah, playing baseball or whatever, and before you know, you're like, oh man, what's that pinch that just happened?
And then it's affecting every bit of your life just because, you didn't go get it documented, you didn't go get a surgery, or I'm the same way. I wouldn't go to sick hall when I was in. It was just a pride thing, and that is another thing too. Is a lot of veterans, they have that pride to where they don't want to be seen as weak or whatever it may be.
That's craziness. So I guess if you want to kind of go in there and look at the camera and kind of let them know, like, hey guys, like, make sure that you guys go in there and get treated.
Yeah, definitely. So that's the biggest thing is, once you get out of the, even when you're in the military, is definitely go through, get your documented injuries, whether it's by your military providers, whether it's going to be by your own civilian providers, just get the evidence that you need to actually get your claims done.
Okay, well, with that, I really truly do appreciate you. We're gonna have to go in there and bring you back. One of the things that I wanted to let the audience know, look, man, if you guys want to go in there and you want Tyler back and you guys have specific messages, please share, follow, and comment, and go in there and on the actual, write your questions. Like, what other things would you guys like to go in there and know and discuss with this subject matter expert? I think that would be something amazing, and we'll bring them back. I mean, I know for a fact you have so much to say.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely pick my brain next time. Give me some questions, everybody, so that way, I can come with a list so I can give everybody the information that they're looking for.
There you go. And free information never hurts, guys. So once again, thank you so much. Thank you for going in there. Like, share, and follow. This is your host, David, with Sun City SITREP.